Yeah, 1 second.
I was so happy when it was done. Yeah. You liked it, Marty?
Yeah.
I'll put more
Call the
pictures
meeting
in
to
next
order.
time.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item of business is to reorganize. So I have some unfortunate news. I will be stepping down from chairperson. And with that, I would like to nominate Dennis Martin as the new chairperson.
One second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Nick, for
No.
your time as chair and for still serving with us. Second, I need now, since I was vice chair and I'm now chairman, I need a vice chair. And I would like to nominate Laura Cisco. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Laura, congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, the first thing, welcome everybody to our meeting this evening, May 6, 2026. And with that, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of our March 4th, 2026 meeting and our April 15th, 2026 meeting?
I'll make a motion that both of those be approved as written. I have no corrections.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty, we'll move on. First agenda for this evening is 510 North Pottstown Pike zoning change request. Who do I have to speak for them this evening?
Good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Cameron Wolfson. I'm with the law firm Riley Riper. We're the attorneys for the petitioner. And with me tonight is Manu Mittal, who's the petitioner's representative. If it works for you guys, I can give you just a brief background of the petition. And if you guys have questions, feel free to shoot them my way.
Okay, sounds good.
So looking at the screen here, the property that we're talking about is located at 510 North Pottstown Pike. It's actually situated in both West Whiteland Township and Euclid Township. Additionally, it's actually split zoned into 3 different zoning districts, which you can kind of see here. The Euclid Township portion side, zone PC, planned commercial. The West Whiteland portion side is it's a squirrel.
It's a dog.
Yeah.
So there's not a dog in the room.
Right. The northern part of the West Whiteland side is residential currently, and the southern part where the stream, basically where the stream intersects, is NC commercial. So as part of this rezoning, we are going to be proposing the Euclid side we're going to be proposing it from PC to R1 low density residential. And essentially the purpose of that is the owner is proposing to subdivide the property and to construct a single family residential home on the Euclid Township portion side and one on the West Whiteland, just like you see on the screen there. So right now it's really, there's a litany of kind of impacts with this property. As you can kind of tell, there's steep slopes on both sides of the property. There's Lionville Run, which has a floodplain associated with it. You also can only access the property through Township Line Road on plan left. So, really, in order to make this developable at all, as the applicant is kind of proposing here, we would have to provide access from Township Line Road, go through West Whiteland to Euclid Township, which is what they are proposing at this point. We had gone to West Whiteland for zoning hearing board approval, which they have approved. So we have it in I'll call it a developable, position, so we can construct the single family home. And now we're kind of working our way to the Euclid Township portion side. I'll just note, from a larger kind of rezoning perspective, everything around this property is R1 residential. It's also located, that's a little easier to see. It's almost kind of an odd piece of this is the only commercial side portion really in this whole area. R2 is the red portion above it. So rezoning this, we're kind of proposing it to be consistent with the surrounding area, not only in the Euclid portion side, but also the West Whiteland portion side. Our best guess is, I mean, it used to be a commercial property. I believe it was called the Presto's Farm Market. So it's, obviously a result of the prior use of this, but in reality, we don't see any future commercial use ever being located on this property. So in order to provide any usable portion of this, we are requesting the rezoning to R1.
Can you orient us?
I was gonna say, Bobby, can you pull open an aerial image or just Google it, please? I think that would give us.
Sure.
Well, I've tried twice on my phone and it's taken me way beyond. I know where it is though, but I
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually not too far from where we're right now.
we'll correct. Should be
Yeah.
zoomed in right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's directly
So it's
northwest of
that
it.
Township Line Road. So it's that kind of.
Is that where the Christmas tree farm
Yes.
is?
Yes.
Is-
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to
Felix's
confirm
Farm
what
Market.
it was.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So it's northwest. It's situated northwest of the Township Line Road and Pottstown Pike intersection. And that's the frontage of it, which you can see there's still some lasting impervious from the prior use, which, if we ultimately can develop this, we would potentially clean that up and build the residential portion behind it. There's nothing proposed in front of the stream that's, pretty much undevelopable at this point. But hopefully with an approval, we can kind of clean up portions of this, provide additional landscaping.
Yeah, I was gonna ask specifically if you will clean up that side,
Yeah.
beautify it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now we're kind of in the very preliminary stage of this plan, as you can imagine. Until we get zoning approval, we haven't really we have, preliminary kind of buildings on there, but we don't have any proposals for the front portion. I'm sure the applicant would like to clean it up for his own, purpose and use, but we're not proposing anything at this point, just kind of squares on a plan. So it's
I
very
understand.
basic.
Yeah, I think my perspective from my seat here tonight was,
Absolutely.
as part of that, I'd like to see, and I know
Absolutely.
you don't have landscaping plans or anything like that,
Right,
but
right.
just all that crappy concrete, just clean it all up, make it look nice. That's
Absolutely.
what we'd want to see.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe there were comments, we received review letter comments from township consultants, and I believe there were some about that, cleaning up the front portion, providing additional landscaping. So
Yeah.
compliance with those would certainly be the objective.
Do you have concerns with flooding in that lot?
Well, it's in the floodplain, so certainly there's some concern with it, but where we're proposing the structures are far back enough that they're outside of the floodplain.
Do you have those lines on there? 100-year floodplain?
They should be, is it on yeah, I think, is that what,
Is that what the shaded part is? Or is not? I thought that was the
We haven't
hillscape.
Can you go to the existing conditions plan? It's prepared by Inland Design. Yeah. Okay, there. I think we have it identified on there. Yeah, it should be.
The lighter dotted line is the floodplain?
The white dotted line is the zoning district line.
No, not that one. There's a heavy dotted line running through the middle of the wash,
Oh.
and then up above and below it is a thinner
Yes,
dotted
yes,
line. Is
yes.
that the,
I believe it is. Let me,
Oh, I think I see which one. No.
This is the floodplain.
yeah, that
Yeah.
dashed line.
It's a real steep going up. Floodplain is really confined there to the stream banks,
Yes.
along the stream banks. So
Bobby, with recent storms that you've observed, has that crusted in that area? No, it's steep enough?
Spring,
Because it crusts usually down towards the bottom and then Marchwood.
in spring 2023, there was flooding in this apartment, the property north of there. So I don't
Oh,
know
that
how
was-
close that is,
Are you saying behind it? It's
like
No.
further up, like if we go back
oh,
to the,
on Pottstown.
Right
along
here,
if
the-
we go
right
back,
there.
so-
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
that makes sense.
yes.
That's right on. I'm
Right.
pretty sure the entrance to that
It was one
crosses
of
the
those
stream.
flash things. that
Right.
can
Oh,
happen.
yes. Yeah. Luckily or unluckily, depending on how you
Storms
view it,
happens
but
every year.
because there's severe steep slopes on this, which we're developing it in a pocket, but it's mostly uphill, so flooding shouldn't really be a problem, but certainly we would design around that stormwater when we get to that point.
Yeah, that was kind of
Yeah.
what I was leading to.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
And compliant with township regulations and all that good stuff.
What's the ingress and egress from the property? Are we setting up a bridge?
So no, there's no bridge proposed. We would have to access it through Township Line Road. I know if you go down a couple sheets.
Might have said something? I can't see it on
So
here.
it's
Yeah,
pretty-
Oh.
it's light, but it would be through Township Line Road.
Oh.
So we're really, to be honest, we're ignoring all of the frontage of this property because it's impossible to develop that. So we're kind of treating this as, we're kind of ignoring that part going in through Township Line Road. And as you can tell, the access would go past the first house and to the second house. So there'd be shared access.
That's public sewer and public water.
I know it's public sewer. I believe, I can't say for certain public water, but we would definitely have to look into that. I don't know if Dan knows. Dan, do you know that?
Do you plan on putting a well in?
Public, well, you haven't listed here for. You haven't listed here for the lot size based upon the public water and public sewer. And my comment number 3 specifies that you shall verify whether public water and public sewer will be available to serve the dwelling. And in order to do a minimum required lot area of 30,000 square feet, you need public sewer.
Right. So we would need to confirm that, but our initial instinct is that it is we would be connecting to public sewer.
There's obviously going to be tremendous concern about any earth disturbance activities
Absolutely.
washing into that wash. Going into that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's a balancing act.
Right. And I think partially the purpose of the rezoning is to kind of minimize any of that impact. If you were to fill the commercial property on there, not only would you probably need a litany of, variances, but it would certainly have a larger impact than a single home residential property. So it brings in our vision, it kind of brings this piece in consistent with the surrounding area and a more, approachable kind of development than building a commercial, store or shopping area there.
Looks like some decent sized trees are going to come down also. Or was there any plans to replant any trees?
I don't know if we have calculated that at this point.
Okay.
Certainly compliance with any township requirements, but
Yeah, the lot area, it's a pretty big lot. They're gonna be well with underneath their requirement here. I mean, this is the area that we're dealing with in Euclid only. So they basically have a disturbance of that area here compared to the full tract. So they'll be compliant with the ordinance requirement for tree removal.
They'll be under the 30% or whatever you're talking about.
Correct.
And we're not moving any township line or anything. It's just a change of the zoning, correct?
yes, that's correct.
Can you clarify, is this 2 parcels or 1 parcel?
The Euclid side is proposed to be subdivided into one parcel. The West Whiteland side is 2 parcels. And partially the reason we're doing that is because West Whiteland has taken the interpretation that even though it's technically one parcel, if it's split zoned, they consider it 2 different parcels. So as we're subdividing, we might as well just subdivide it. But the Euclid side, it's all one zoning district. So we don't need, obviously for other reasons, but we're going to keep that one entire parcel.
So is it a parcel now, or are you gonna be, because right now is the deed to the property here, all one parcel split by 2 townships?
That is correct. It is
Okay.
one parcel under the deed. So we're proposing to subdivide it into 3 separate parcels.
So you'll come back in after this is for basically looking to approval for changing the zoning district. And then you will come back in for subdivision application
Yes,
if that zoning approval is complete.
right, exactly. Yeah, consistent with this, unless they change it, but right now, this is the subdivision we're proposing, we would have to come back in, so I'm assuming minor, but I would have to confirm minor.
So really all we need to be concerned about right now is just the rezoning this moment, because we're seeing Muller again for everything else.
Yeah, and we would almost certainly need some zoning approvals with variances, but again, we would have to confirm that.
Right.
It's the very beginning of this, so. once we get more kind of, sophisticated plans, we can kind of determine all the relief that's necessary.
So just so did I hear you say you're gonna make two parcels out of West Whiteland?
That's correct. I mean, right now, that's the proposed case.
Okay.
And so that means the two parcels in West Whiteland, which is not in Euclid here, obviously, this is gonna be one parcel, this is your zoning line right now for West Whiteland, correct?
That is correct.
And so you'll end up at the end of the day, have on this tract here, lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, or whatever numbering scheme you do for this. So you'll have a commercial developable land here at the end of the day in West White.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, developable is a strong word, but yes, it will heal.
Thank you, Dan, for bringing, that's what I was trying to figure out, how.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a three,
commercial-
yep, it's a 3-lot subdivision with 2 homes proposed, essentially.
And this is gonna be the frontage. This will be the lot frontage for Euclid, even though it's not being utilized because they gonna be cost prohibitive to build a bridge over this. So this is gonna meet the ordinance requirements for your lot frontage here, but the access will come through an easement through West White.
Looking at these contours, it's a pretty heavy slope. You're gonna have a lot of earth movement.
Yeah, absolutely. We're eyeing up that relief.
Have you done geotech yet by chance or no?
No, we haven't.
'Cause
I'll
I can imagine rock's gonna be pretty shallow.
actually, yeah. Yeah, we would certainly have to
Rock's
do,
a little harder to move than soil.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, we would certainly have to look into that. As I mentioned, it's preliminary at this point, but in our view, this is the only really developable way we can kind of, make any use of this parcel. So the first step is seeing if, it's acceptable to the township to make it residential. And then the second part would be, let's put pen to paper and start planning this. So, yeah.
I have an odd question as well. From a township standpoint, have we seen or had like issues with having like an ingress egress driveway that crosses multiple townships?
There'll be an agreement. The part of the approval process will require an easement agreement for shared maintenance and shared access here, before they can build it. And it's no different from that aspect here. They'll pay taxes to Euclid in here for this, and this guy will be a West Whiteland resident, and the kids they're friends with each other. They're one's going to
So how
downtown.
about, so perfect example you brought up, how about trash? Because they have a different system and everything. So there would be 2 sets of trash at the curb and whatnot. So like I'm just like logistics and operational kind of.
What tangle webs we weave.
It's interesting that the township doesn't end on the road.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
You know what the name of that road's called?
Township.
Township line.
Township
Township
line.
line.
Township line, you would think it would make it much easier. I'd say that, but
It does line up further up,
Further, Yeah.
further up to
Yeah.
becomes township.
right.
Who pays it? Like they pay half and we pay half? Like,
Usually, I don't know about this one, but most townships most of them are kind of like, hey, you take care of this road and like, up, I think up by my property up there, there's the township line road up there with Upper Euclid. It's like, oh, you take care of this one, but we'll take care of this one. So there's kind of like these unwritten agreements of who's taking care of what roads, between them here, so.
so the plan's just for 2 single-family homes, no townhomes,
No.
nothing like that.
no, just 2 single-family homes.
Was that an earlier concept?
Yes, originally they were hoping to build townhomes, but ultimately, we went to the zoning hearing board and they denied that use. The use is not permitted.
Yep.
Townhome use is not permitted in West Whiteland. So
Wait,
They-
you went to Euclid or West Whitelands?
West Whiteland
West
zoning hearing
Whiteland.
board, yes,
For townhomes?
Yes.
Correct, correct. And they
Yeah.
denied it. Yep.
exactly. So then we came back with a single-family proposal, which they approved. So
Which you can't do townhomes in R1, right?
for Euclid,
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure about that. We did.
Euclid, no.
Yeah, I didn't-
So the reason they're here for the zoning change is because residential is not permitted in PC, so
Yeah.
they would have to go to the zoning hearing board. And the setbacks for PC is 100 feet from residential. So they would need a variance for the use, they would need variances for the setbacks. And it's surrounded by all residential, so it's easier to change the zoning than it is to go to the zoning hearing board. Oh, and
Just
you
to be-
need 20 acres for
Motion.
townhouses.
Hmm?
And you need 20 acres for
We're gonna see this
townhouses.
all again.
Okay.
I mean, all we're doing it. all
I
we're
read about
doing-
the other West Whiteland thing when I Googled it, so.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, it sounds like, obviously, I guess townhomes are permitted, if they're 20 acres or
In R2.
an R2, so R1 doesn't permit townhomes.
And just to be clear, like, we're just recommending to the zoning hearing board, they're still gonna take this on, or we're,
Recommending to the board of supervisors.
so they're bypassing the zoning? Okay,
Because they don't need a variance.
I see. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Zoning hearing
Yeah.
board doesn't approve zoning changes for the zoning map. That's a board of supervisors action item. So you're basically making a recommendation to the board of supervisors to recommend or not recommend this property be rezoned to R1 zoning district. And then the supervisors will do that. You guys did it too recently. The most recent one, you know, 113. You had a property, you had a storage place, there was a
Right.
property there by next to the school district. Yeah, and Calvary actually had it too, for the
Church
Calvary Chapel, had a zoning, had a line, the zoning line in the middle of that parcel that was redone. So this is the second one within the last, or third one in the last I think, two years or so that you're coming to, and the supervisors will take action and vote to approve or deny the zoning change.
Thank you.
Dan, do you have any other input or you'd like to add to this?
No, so I had an April 6th letter, and the April 6th letter is basically just kind of outlined, items here about, hey, this is what they're proposing to do from PC to R1 for the first comment. If R1 residentials are uses permitted. We talk about the lot size, here they, assuming they can get public water, public sewer, they'll end up having, the 30,000 square foot minimum lot area for that area, for the lot. Minimum lot width, I guess, and to make sure they have a dimension at the lot width, here shown, I think it from scale dimension, it appears to be those area and bulk regulations for the lot width. It also, appears that it meet the area and bulk regulations for the rest of the R1 district. Steep slopes, they have a certain amount of percentage of steep slopes disturbance. They have some problems with this sketch right now. They have these grades showing where you're literally would be water coming right into the back of the house. So they're gonna have to regrade and we'll have some more steep slope disturbances. Excuse me, behind the house. These contours here don't really work with the driveway, so they have some engineering stuff. It's kind of just more of a sketch plan concept, but they have to show compliance with their steep slope disturbances. And here, I think with the size of this lot, they should be able to comply with that aspect. Make sure the 50-foot buffer for the riparian buffer is required, for comment number 7. Scale dimension appears like it should be okay. Last comment was the shared driveway access agreement will be required as part of the approval process. And a lot of those items are kind of more a heads up for them during the land development subdivision process here. But it appears feasible, like they should be able to comply with the area bulk regulations and other zoning requirements if it is rezoned.
Okay.
I was just looking at all the utilities that traverse through this area. It looks like you got a Pico easement that you're gonna be crossing, doing a roadway through or a driveway. Where's Sunoco? Sunoco farther up the hillside a little bit?
I think so. I don't think it cuts through, it definitely, it cuts in, yeah, it's further up this way, it comes down through Marchwood and further back up this way, so.
Okay. So we don't have to worry about setback and all that.
No, I don't think you have an issue with that for this. It's worth looking at. make sure that we're meeting that, but I'm pretty confident that you're.
I think so, too.
In that distance way.
You ready for a motion there, Dennis?
Yes.
I mean, we're gonna see all this again
Yep,
two more
dude.
times.
Do we
So-
have any other questions or
I'm
comments?
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
The only comment that I would have is just to be really forward, future thinking with the, like you said, in your plans to be cautious of the floodplain and just for the safety of the residents and their property. Should not be taken lightly.
Okay. With that, do I have a motion?
Do we have public comments? That's what
I can do public comment at this point. Do I have any public comment? Nope. Can you stand up and say? No, never silly
Hi, I'm
question.
Denise Volano. Literally with the driveway being that long and like, how will trash be picked up on that opposite property? There's no street over there, right? So, and is there currently trash delivery on that Township Line Road that serves Euclid?
I'm sure that, well,
There's other houses on that, right?
mean,
Go ahead. Bobby will answer.
May not be a blocker for the property, but it just seems like a logistical.
Thank you.
Our resident trash expert here. Is indicating that it's trash.
sure.
One of those, so they'll have a toter,
Right.
whereas the West Lakeland side, they are bag that hangs you down.
Yeah.
So there'll be two different times, and you just have to come down.
Right. But they're on township line anyhow, up further in our township, so. So that would be it, but yeah, it's a long driveway, but that's, I mean, there are long driveways around. So. Was that all? Okay. Okay, with that, I have a motion and a second. All in, I'm sorry. We need to
I'll make,
read, have a motion, yes.
I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you.
To recommend the zoning change from PC to R1 pursuant to compliance with the review letters. E.B. Walsh review letter dated April 6th, 2026. Bowman review letter dated April 10th, 2026. Thurikoff review letter dated April 14th, 2026. Fire Marshal memorandum dated April 6th, 2026. HRG review letter dated April 23rd, 2026, and the Chester County Planning Commission letter dated April 10th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, your recommendation is good to go.
Thank you.
Do I have any other comments from the board or from the public? With that, I'll read the announcements.
Here's another topic.
37.
This is-
Or, sorry, not 37, 537.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Now I will ask for an update on the zoning task force.
I think we're gonna do, the Act 537 plan next, if that's okay.
Yes.
So it's called an Act 537 plan, cause the act is Act number 537, relating to sewage planning. Fun stuff. The township currently has two sewer systems. We have a system that flows to the Downingtown Area Regional Authority, and then we have a system that's primarily serves the Eagle View community. The Downingtown treatment plant, the part that's part of DARA that flows to ultimately to the Downingtown Regional Treatment Plant, and that's taken care of there. The part that services Eagle View is a package. It's our own treatment plant located in Eagle View. Dan's highlighting it there where it says Eagle View Wastewater or WWTP. That is an old treatment plant that is quite frankly a money pit. We had a $100,000 structural repair that had to be done that ballooned into a little over $1 million repair, and we want to get rid of it because it just costs a lot of money. So with our consultant HRG, they've prepared on our behalf what's called an Act 537 plan. And the 537 plan does really two things. The first is it documents a transfer of 50,000 gallons per day of sewer capacity at the Downingtown Regional Treatment Plant from East Callan Township to Euclid Township. So East Callan Township had an excess of sewer capacity. Euclid Township could use that sewer capacity. Hankin agreed to pay for that sewer capacity. And so we have to do this 537 plan to prove that East Callan doesn't need the 50,000 gallons. We do, and it should be transferred to us. And then the second thing it does is it provides the basis for diverting the Eagleview wastewater treatment plant flow to Downingtown, which is where we want to send all of that flow. I kind of covered a little bit of why we want to divert the flow. It is expensive to treat sewage flow at Eagleview compared to Dara. The treatment plant has some serious issues, and given its age, it could continue to be expensive to operate and maintain. And the reality is that the Eagleview wastewater treatment plant simply doesn't have adequate capacity for the future wastewater needs of the Eagleview service area. That plant is capable of 475,000 gallons per day. We flow about half of that, but just based on what Hankin and others have spoken about in terms of their build out visions for Eagleview, the capacity just isn't there. So ultimately what's proposed in this plan is the township purchasing the 50,000 gallons of capacity from East Callan Township, constructing a pump station there at the Eagleview wastewater treatment plant to divert the flow. There would be a force main and gravity sewer that would primarily be constructed within existing roads, and the diverted flow would connect to the existing Shimona Creek interceptor down there, down by Pennypacker, and then continue to flow to Downingtown. After the gravity sewer is constructed, which is kind of that green line there, after the gravity sewer is constructed, the Overlook pump station would be demolished. Currently, the Overlook pump station pushes flow up to Eagleview, but we would get rid of the Overlook pump station. And then after the pump station and force main are constructed at the Eagleview wastewater treatment plant, we will decommission that wastewater treatment plant. And I stress decommission, and I'll touch on that in a second. Concurrent with the construction of the pump station, the force main, and the gravity sewer, the township would work with the Downingtown Regional Authority to purchase additional sewer capacity at Dara, which will become available at the completion of Dara's upgrade project. So Dara is doing a plant modernization. They're doing flood mitigation projects there, and then ultimately, as part of that, they're putting in some upgraded equipment to then be able to go to the DEP and get a rated 1 million gallon per day upgrade. We would get roughly 28% of that, or another 285,000 gallons per day, on top of the 50,000 that we're getting from East Callan. And then once we get that additional sewer capacity at Dara, then we would demolish the Eagleview wastewater treatment plant. The purchase of the 50,000 gallons per day isn't costing the township anything, because Hankin is paying the township the purchase price to receive that. The pump station, force main, and gravity sewers have an estimated project cost of almost $3.6 million, $3,577,000. The majority of that, Hankin has agreed to pay $3 million. We've also received a $500,000 grant for the project. And that would essentially leave roughly $77,000 where either Henkin would be willing to pick that up or, the township would fund that through our existing capital purchases. And like I said, ultimately the unit cost for treatment is less expensive at Downingtown than it is at Eagle View, so the diversion would ultimately be a net positive. The goal here is to have the Act 537 plan submitted to the DEP by the end of June. Design and permitting with permit approvals are anticipated to be completed in the spring of 2027. Construction would occur optimistically the summer of 2027 through the spring of 2028. And then the purchase of the additional capacity at Downingtown is harder to estimate given all the different players involved in that process. Important to note that in our 537 plan, we talk about, we essentially have to justify all of the sewer capacity that we either need or are looking to get. And so in preparing this 537 plan, our sewer consultant used actually the Planning Commission's recommendation in terms of the estimated sewer flow from the school district property there on Lineville Station Road. In estimating them, they actually used the Planning Commission's recommendation of 400 homes. And so that would, the total flow for that project in the 537 plan is a little over 74,000 gallons per day. In the event that additional flow is not able to be purchased in Downingtown, then we would need to prepare a new Act 537 plan and apply for DEP permits to then recommission the Eagle View wastewater treatment plant. And that, I have to tell you, is such a last resort. That is not our goal by any stretch of the imagination, nor do we actually anticipate that happening. But it's a caveat in the plan, so just wanted to mention that. Ultimately, what we're looking for from the Planning Commission, and if so desired from the Planning Commission, staff would draft a letter for the Planning Commission's review. But prior to June 5th, we would look for a letter stating that we've gone over the plan, any comments or questions that you may have regarding the plan. And then we'll be talking with the Board of Supervisors about this tomorrow with the goal of adoption of the plan at the board's June 8th meeting. We have advertised, actually today in the Daily Local, there was an advertisement, a public notice about the 537 plan. It's available here at the township for inspection. Here in the next couple of days, it'll be available on our website for public inspection for folks that want to look at it. Trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. I will just note that the Eagle View treatment plant area includes some properties that are outside of the township. And so they're actually in Upper Euclid Township. And so because of that, Upper Euclid Township has to review this plan and approve it. And because East Calne is involved in the 50,000 gallon per day sewer transfer, East Calne also has to review the plan and adopt it. And our goal is to get all of that done before June 30th, so we can get this submitted and get it moving. Any questions? That was a lot.
Not related to the timeline, but over the 2-year period roughly that you described, is there a significant risk of additional capital expenditures to keep the facility going in that time period?
I think we've covered everything that needs to be covered at this point. So I don't think so, but with that treatment plant, I'm not betting anything on it.
So time is of the essence.
It is. It is.
When was it built?
when was Eagle View built? Yeah,
40.
I mean, so this plant has gone through, I think, 3 different upgrades. At least 2, if not 3 different upgrades over its time. It was originally there's 2 different process treatments. There's a bigger process treatment side that came in like the 2007 era, I think. Then there's a smaller treatment side that was originally part of originally built, and I think there were some minor upgrades to that at some point. So it served its useful life and then some.
How many other sewer plants is the township operating besides that one?
None.
Fantastic.
All right.
Dennis and I were talking at very end, and I told him the happiest day in my career, Great Valley School District, was closing that plant at the high school. I was
Yes.
just so happy we could get into the Valley Forge Sewer Authority and increase their capacity. And
Yeah.
of course, when the high school was built, it was in the middle of nowhere, so there wasn't ever going to be sewer there. But I'll tell you what, it's a huge burden. It's a huge financial burden too. And there's so much stuff that comes down the road, and a 40-year-old concrete structure is going to have significant problems. It's just the way it is. So
We
it all seems very very well thought out, and we're getting a lot of participation from all the other stakeholders. So
Good funding.
yeah, and the bidding market is the bidding market, but it's a nice size job for somebody, anyways.
Yeah.
It'll be competitive, I'm sure.
We did look at, not having a pump station because pump stations are problematic at times. But what would be required to go gravity was just not feasible. I mean, between the easements, trying to convince the DEP to go under a high hazard dam, I mean, there were just obstacles that just were not financially feasible.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
You said the cost per unit, taking it from Eagle View treating it currently to Gara would be less. But I presume that our our payment for that as a township resident would remain the same.
Yeah. So there's not expected to be any increase in the sewer.
There's no increase nor a decrease.
Correct.
So I presume that staying the same would help pay for pump station maintenance and whatnot and other. Okay.
Yeah.
Cost to decommission the wastewater treatment plant. What's that look like?
So the cost to decommission is included in that 3.6 million.
That is included.
The cost to demolish it later on, once we have the additional capacity, I want to say they put that in like the $100,000 to $200,000 range, and we would go after grants for that and
Okay.
hopefully be successful.
That can go on a different year's budget.
Yeah.
What's it zoned as?
PCID.
So somebody else might want to pick it up and take care of it.
Yeah, Neil has already talked to us about ideas that he has for that parcel. Ultimately, it is our parcel. We own that land, or the municipal authority does.
I have one more question. Can we purchase additional units ahead as part of the agreement? Because you said we just included 400 for Lineville Station Farm, but what if we're expecting other properties to be developed? You mentioned, I think, we would have to reevaluate. Can we be proactive?
Yeah, so and I admittedly I got the plan at about 4:00 this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to thoroughly go through it, but I know that they include.
Like, do we have like 1,000 extra units or something, like versus just 400? Like, is there
More
room to
than
spare?
that.
Okay.
So yeah, here we go. Future
10%
growth.
buffer.
So essentially, yeah, they they go through all of the zoning and figure out,
How to build out.
right, and then we get the capacity based on that. So,
Not, not capacity to be purchased until DARA upgrades the facility.
So we're still contingent on their studies getting approved too, right?
that's correct. And so that's why it was such an important point in the comment letters and in the discussions at the planning commission meeting last month around Lineville Station Road. The comment that there is not currently capacity for that development today, right? It doesn't exist in the Eagleview treatment plant. And once we divert the Eagleview treatment plant to Downingtown, there isn't capacity at Downingtown for that. And so there's, I think we get like 284,000 additional gallons per day when we purchase the extra capacity at Downingtown once they've upgraded their plant. But ultimately, if worst case scenario, Downingtown doesn't get the 1 million gallons per day. That's why we're not demolishing Eagleview, because if we decommission it and God forbid we don't end up getting the extra capacity at Downingtown, we don't want to be in a position where we're getting put into a moratorium from the state because we don't have adequate sewer capacity. And so we would have the ability of turning on a 475,000 gallons per day if we needed it. We don't want to do that though. That makes sense.
Okay, so the timeline would be you wouldn't demolish until
They've got the million
all that
gallons.
infrastructure is installed.
The infrastructure is installed and we have the approval from DEP and Downingtown that we have an additional 284,000 gallons per day.
Correct. So can we get more than 284, or is that just the?
We would have to justify it, and based on the zoning analysis and what
Okay.
we know is kind of in the pipeline.
So that's all included in the 284, and
Yeah.
everybody thinks that's a good best guess kind of thing, because I just would rather be proactive than reactive.
Yeah, no, and even with that, we have a little bit of extra capacity, and that's assuming a complete full build out of the township.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. I mean, so just to put it in perspective, right now we have 2.083 million gallons per day at the Downingtown treatment plant. We average over a 5-year average flow, we're sending 1.6 million to Downingtown. So we usually run with a fair amount of margin for error in there.
Million gallons that DARA's having gets distributed equally among the DARA partners.
Correct. That was.
So you don't turn around and be like, oh, I want more, unless one of the other partners, the DARA partners, don't need that extra capacity, then there's a agreement that you can purchase it. But if you can't just say, oh, I want more, you only get your fair share.
Correct. Correct. And I just figured if they were going through that stage still of the study phase, that all the negotiations are still kind of a little bit open and, plus or minus a couple percentage points. But yes, I figured that was like, there's going to be an agreement in place, and we're not the only ones going after the 1 million infrastructure. So makes sense.
It's a very analog relationship rather than a digital one. It's kind of old fashioned because there's so many variables you're dealing with, and you know that. I'm speaking to everybody. Well, there's and they don't like any one entity hoarding EDUs. That's for sure.
And the reality is you have to justify it to DEP, right? So we'd have to be able to justify if we wanted to buy 60,000 more gallons per day, we'd have to be able to show we have a reasonable belief that there's going to be this additional development that's going to produce that kind of flow.
The moratoriums they can put you on are real. There's townships around here that don't allow anybody to hook up any new sanitary connections for any new developments.
Would rather not have that happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like you guys have worked on this and have a pretty good solution. Do you need any kind of a recommendation or anything, or we just had a discussion?
Yeah, so what we'll probably do is, like I said, if you're okay with it, we'll draft a letter for your review at the June 5th Planning Commission meeting, third Planning Commission meeting, and you can vote on that, and then we'll be able to send that to the board.
And that'll work good for your timeline
That'll
if
be
we do it in that
perfect.
meeting?
Perfect.
Okay.
Make sure there's a quorum.
Summertime.
And with me cutting in there, were there any other comments that anybody wanted to make?
I just had a question, and it's more of just for my knowledge. That plant is part of Eagle View's property. Hankin owns that. Who? It's you down. And then you said the phase is decommission, then demolish. And then how long is there how long is that period?
Between decommissioning and demolishing,
Or just that whole?
we can't actually say because it's all dependent on when Downingtown has the additional capacity available and it's approved, and it could be 10 years.
Okay.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope it's more like 3, but
And then I guess future thinking, what were you thinking of property? Is there?
I mean, we'll have to see. Hankin has ideas. We.
Yeah, there you
Tell me
there's,
now.
there's certainly a need for some municipal space, so we'll have to see what happens when that comes.
Village center.
How big is the property?
With pickleball
How
course, so
big
the neighbors don't
how
get
big
up
is
wild
this
up.
property?
It's not very big. It's a couple of acres, maybe.
Small, couple acres.
Good parking lot.
Okay. Thanks.
Just a dumb question.
No.
Is Hankin willing to still pay for all this, even though that may not happen then?
Yes.
Okay.
In the agreements with Hankin, essentially we say like, if we're proposing if we don't have that additional capacity within 10 years, then we'll reimburse them the cost of that construction.
So there's a little bit of risk, but it sounds like this wouldn't be occurring if there wasn't a high likelihood of everything being approved.
Exactly.
Good work.
All righty, sounds good. We'll be waiting to hear from you. And now next, before I go too far, now the zoning task force update.
Yes, I will keep this short and sweet. As you know, we've been meeting monthly before the planning commission meeting. We did not meet last month, but the month prior and before that, we've been discussing land uses and which zoning districts they should be permitted in. So we pretty much went through every single use imaginable that's in our current zoning ordinance and up and coming uses that aren't in our zoning ordinance and where we feel they should be placed in the township in which certain zoning districts. One of the other things that we did was propose to condense the zoning districts. So RR and RA are very similar. So we're proposing to combine them into just RR. We would keep the R1 zoning and we would keep the R2 zoning as is. And then we were talking about combining both the PC, Plan Commercial, and the PC2 because they're very similar, and PC2 is pretty much like 4 properties right at Route 100 and 113. which has similar uses in PC. So we felt that combining them would be sufficient. And we're still working on what those standards are with minimum lot sizes and everything else, if we're going to make any changes, because they're a little different for RA and RR. So we got to narrow that down. And then at the request of us, the county is helping us work through a build out analysis, which is kind of what we've been talking about with our comp plan and all the undeveloped properties and redeveloped properties, what we can do with them. Obviously, the majority of land that we have left that's undeveloped is PIC, which is currently the Rockwell piece, but there's a handful of other properties in PIC which can be redeveloped. So trying to figure out what we want to see there, what we would want for redevelopment. And then we're also looking at Route 100 and 113 corridor for redevelopment and what that would look like. So we're still talking about those, kind of just a working draft as we move forward. And then every month we're going through definitions to make sure they meet what we've already been talking about, which sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So then we're revising those. So it's a constant working draft, but that's pretty much where we are today.
Eric, can you update everybody on how procedure works with the zoning that we're going to meet, and then it'll be public notice and all that, right?
So yes, so these are public meetings. They're at 5 o'clock, the first Wednesday of the month. But it's about a 2-year process. So we're going to go through and try and get to where we're at, and then we'll come to the planning commission meeting and present all of our findings, and you guys will have a chance to review everything. We'll have another public meeting. We'll go to the board for public meetings. So it's definitely going to be more public meetings if people aren't coming to the workshop meetings. Probably, when would our next public meeting be? Probably in like 6 months or so, I would think.
Okay, just wanted to keep everybody updated on what's going to happen publicly and everything.
Any update on planning or considerations for data centers?
We are working on an industrial users ordinance. Maybe June we'll have a discussion at the board workshop. Maybe here. We have a pretty full agenda in June as of right now. So in the next month or two.
Do we have any high tension or other transmission lines that run through the town? I can't think of any.
What do you mean, Mariner East?
That's not suitable, but not power.
For data centers, you mean?
Yeah.
Power.
There's no,
You want high pressure
No.
gas if you can get it, but Mariner East isn't.
yeah, so there's
That's not the right
there are
gas.
pipelines with,
Substation, which
yeah, Texas Eastern, and then,
I don't think there's.
there's the one that runs actually right along, between.
Lionsville
Ludwig
Station.
and Lionsville Station.
Yeah.
Road property.
What do you mean?
What's it carrying?
Pressure gas,
I have Buckeye,
Oh.
but that's West Whiteland,
14-inch diameter,
and that's
Okay.
that's the oil.
1100 PSI.
That or I think substations, but
property.
we don't
That's
have
fine,
any
yeah.
major substations, do we, Pico?
One's active and one's. not.
Substations?
Pair of them.
No.
Oh yeah, that one.
And then the one substation on Whitford Road, they're retired.
So those would be your two.
Oh, that's probably coming off a 69 kV circuit though, or something. It's not.
When Pico, so we had a presentation 2 months ago from Pico.
Yeah.
And it was really enlightening. It's on our YouTube channel.
Sorry.
Their best guesstimate, if somebody were to come in, that they wouldn't be in a position to supply power until 2030.
How many megawatts?
Like
Was it
I
user
think
20?
500 megawatt, like a,
A hyperscaler.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's one model that we're seeing. I think that's what everybody's paying the most attention to, but there's also a lot of movement in this area and in sort of suburbs a little bit closer to the city as well for edge data centers. So that's more of a 15 to 25 megawatt scale where people are retrofitting existing commercial office buildings due to low vacancy there, as long as they can get the power in a reasonable amount of time. We're basically gutting out office buildings and putting white space in them.
Right, so Pico described their process for any high load, and I forget how they define a high load user. They're now requiring to go through a clustering process.
Mhm.
So they're taking so many applications and sitting on them until they reach a certain number, and then they'll evaluate them in a cluster. It's $1 million to apply to the clustering process. It takes, I want to say they said around 6 months. And then at the end of it, it ends with a transmission security agreement that has to be signed and another $1 million payment to Pico to secure that TSA before they'll even consider beginning the infrastructure work, slotting it into the infrastructure work. And, you know, they were talking through that process, 2030, before they could be able to.
Is that for service from their existing distribution system, or is that bundled up as a common interconnection request to PJM?
It's a,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Because if you interface with PJM for a tap on a 230 volt circuit, like that's gonna.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is my understanding. It's a-
Thank you for that update, Terry. Do we have any other comments or questions? With that, I will, anything from the public? No. I will read the announcements. May 7th, Board of Supervisors Workshop Meeting, 12 p.m. May 11th, Board of Supervisors Meeting, 7 p.m. here at the Township Building. May 14th, Historical Commission Meeting, 7 p.m. at Cadwalader House. May 20th, Zoning Hearing Board, 7 p.m., Nash Tech, 119 Pickering Way. May 21st, Environmental Advisory Council Workshop Meeting at 7. And on June 3rd, Zoning Task Force Update, 5 p.m. And on June 3rd, Planning Commission Meeting at 7 p.m. With that, I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion. Do